Hi everyone and welcome to our cybersecurity training. This training is yearly refresher for those who already attended the training session before. This training just to make sure that you stay updated with the latest cybersecurity threats and best practices. For those who are joining us for the first time, this is about to ensure that our staff are aware of cybersecurity threats and equipping you with the knowledge and necessary awareness to ensure that our network and work environment are secure from cyber threats and so on. Yeah, as you know, cyber attacks and tracking happens every day, anywhere to anyone, which why everyone must be listening carefully and be aware of this. Just one more time to explain why we are conducting cybersecurity training for all the staff. As you know, we are working in regulated industry, and any cyber attacks against the company, whether during the work on office or from home, must be reported to the regulator. Then, depend on the severity of the incident, this could have serious consequences for the company and so on. So it's important that each one of us be aware of this and take responsibility of cybersecurity seriously. Yeah, we need to avoid to be in such situation. Okay. Also, one more thing, please pay attention to this training because we will provide an assessment after this training. Yeah, the intention of this assessment is not for you to pass the test or something like that. Yeah, just we need to ensure that you have understood the training and you have a high level of awareness when it's come to cybersecurity or cyber attacks. Alright, let's move to the agenda. As you can see from here, we have a lot to cover. Generally, we will cover different security topics and best practices, providing a brief overview of what is cybersecurity, why cybersecurity awareness is important, consequences of security breach, different attacks types, also best practices that you can apply to enhance your awareness of cybersecurity in your both work environment and your personal digital life. And we will brief you on what you should do when things go wrong. Okay, this sounds interesting. Okay, let me start by explaining what exactly is cybersecurity. From the definition here, cybersecurity is a set of practices designed to safeguard our systems, networks, and programs against digital attacks. As you know, cyber attacks are becoming more common in today's digital world, where we rely heavily on technology to some extent in our daily lives. And hackers are always trying to exploit vulnerabilities in our system to try to steal sensitive information or manipulate the users to bypass the system security and all of those things. Why attackers do all of those malicious activities? Usually the attackers aim to gain access to change or destroy any data or information. After that, some of them will demand money from the users, or some of them will disrupt the business processes and so on. This is where cybersecurity comes in to help us to stand against those malicious activities, which can make sure that our system and data are protected from the attackers. But how cybersecurity will do that? Okay, cybersecurity will do that by using the cybersecurity best practices and technology together to prevent and detect the cyber threats, which involve all the factors, starting from devices, humans, and technology together. Okay, moving forward. Here we have the element of the information security, which are integrity, confidentiality, availability. These three parts refer to as a CIA triangle, information security. Let's start by explaining what is integrity. Integrity is making sure that the information in a given record, document, or file has not been altered or destroyed in any way. For better understanding, let's use an email message as an example. Integrity will ensure that the information sent by the sender and the information received by the receiver are the same and has not been altered. For example, if you send email with attachment containing the company information or sensitive data, and send that email, someone may sit in the middle of the connection and get that data and modify the information or the attachment. And then the information will received by the receiver is actually modified. That means the information integrity is no longer valid. Cybersecurity is required here to protect that kind of information or the integrity of those files. How does cybersecurity do that? Is by using cryptography such as hashing functions, tools to monitor the files and the system integrity, and implementing secure connection channels to send that information. Okay, I know this sounds so technical, but okay, we will understand this later and because I will explain it in simpler way. Okay, let's move to the confidentiality. Let's refer to the same email we used before. For example, if the email you sent is received by the recipient and it's containing attachment with the sensitive data, this information is supposed to be only accessible by the recipient. But if it's become accessible by anyone who can access that email or accessible to the public to read it, then the confidentiality of the information in that file no longer confidential. And this can be lost for the company and so on. To protect the confidentiality of those files, there are a lot of means and methods. Let's take an example of technical approach that involves cybersecurity. Also, it's called access control implementation, either with standalone security products or via configuration in our systems. This may include cryptography and access control management. Cryptography will encrypt the data or the file so that only who have the key can access it. An example of using encryption or cryptography in our company, when some staff want to send external email to a third party, usually they zip that file and lock it with a password and then send it. So only those who have the password can access it. Access management is similar but in a different way. Access control management is making sure that only who should have access can access the file. Let's use an example of that in our company. We have file server, for example, CDBL, CDL, and only specific staff have access to that file based on the assigning of the permission. For example, if you are from IT, you are not able to access for the marketing or the research files. And from the department for the research cannot access to the IT and so on. This is the access control management that used to protect the confidentiality of the files or the data. Alright, availability means that it's ensuring the system and the data are accessible when needed and are not disrupted by attackers. For example, let's say if you have a website that provides information or sells product to the customers. An example of that is Shopee or Lazada. Attacker may attempt to take it down and the customer will not be able to access it. Which will cause a loss for that company or organization. So to protect the availability of those websites, it includes cybersecurity to ensure that it's available and accessible to the customers when needed. So by implementing something like backups, disaster recovery, and other technical implementations. And by using those three elements, its organization must decide for itself what is the order of priority is for applications or system of the CIA triangle to their own information security. For our business, all of them are equally important. I think so far, you almost know the importance of cybersecurity. Again, without the proper cybersecurity measures, the information we rely on can compromise, then can affect our work, economy, or even our political situation. For businesses, especially for our work, cybersecurity is crucial to ensure that the information that we provide to the customers and the stakeholder is reliable and trustworthy. For example, if the company information is not secure, it can harm the company reputation and lead to lose businesses opportunity and revenue. Let's say that if your staff or other like external customers say the information you are giving is not reliable, then they will not try to do business with you. So at the corporate level, it's a responsibility of every member of our staff to make sure that our cybersecurity and integrity of our information is maintained and it's always out there. And by practicing cybersecurity, we can protect our company reputation from cyber threats. Okay, Cybersecurity awareness training is vital to technology. This is key topic because many people assume if they have the best security technologies and dedicated security team, that will provide them with 100% coverage. To answer why security awareness is must, okay, it's because technology alone cannot protect you from everything. Also, attackers always go where security is weakest. And from the security perspective, usually people are the weakest point in the security chain. A must to reduce the security risk. So cybersecurity awareness is must for everyone. Either it's employee, business owners, or normal technology users. For example, large corporations and government spends millions of dollars and still aren't immune from cyber attacks if they don't practice good cybersecurity awareness training. Let's look at some examples where some attacks and data breach happens. From here, you can see some incidents that happens to my bank, Malaysian immigration and LastPass. Each of which got attacked, and some don't protect their information well, even they have a dedicated security team and the latest technology in place. If you read the report here, you can see that all those incidents happened not because the weak security implementation in their system, but it's because the lack of the knowledge or responsibility of their some stuffs. And the attacker were smart to trick them and so on. So the lesson to learn from this in our case, if something happened to you, you may assume that Chiwa, Muada, Musa or IT team will take care of it. Or you may think that the company has the firewall and antivirus, so that will protect against everything. Actually, it's not. Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility for all, not just IT department, because IT cannot do all the things to protect you. So you need to learn, understand, and all of us should do his part to avoid making our company and work environment vulnerable to cyber attack or data breach. Okay, let's have a look at the consequences of cybersecurity breach. To see what will happen if the attacker get access to our information or steal it. Actually, there can be a lot of consequences. Yeah, we'll cover some of them. First of them is what will happen in case of data breach or theft. For example, if the university research that include confidential scientific discoveries is stolen by the attacker, this could have a significant consequences for the university research or the researcher. And the work and the effort of the researchers becomes for nothing. This will damage the university reputation, also the research capabilities. So that kind of things happens because of the security breach. For our company in this case, if we get attacked, the client will think that our cybersecurity capability is insufficient and they are not going to give us any of their personal information. Also, they will not plan to do business with us. This will ruin our reputation and cause us financial loss. So the company will lose a lot of contract with the customers. And the most concerning for us in this case is the fines and the financial laws that will be imposed by the regulators. Also, this could be from the PDPA. Another consequences is operational downtime or disruption of our servers. Since most of our work is done over the internet and we access our file servers via remote desktop or guacamole server. For example, if the attacker attack our system, it can cause our operation to be down. Let's say you have no internet at your office or access to the servers. So you cannot actually communicate with the other offices or customers. So it will cause a problem. Also, our business will be disturbed. For example, if our ICAP website is down, that means you can still write report at your computer, but you will not be able to upload the work you done or the article to the website for the readers of the website and so on. Okay, criminal offenses and penalties from the regulators. The slides here show you more from Singaporean perspective, but we are aware that even for SFC, it's also issue number of circulators when it's come to how companies have to raise awareness to be resilient against cyber threat and cyber attack. Also, Australian Security and Investment Commission has established information security management which covers cyber attack and cybersecurity. Same all of this is applies for Malaysia regulators and security commission as well. Okay, those are the bodies and the regulators that can impose the penalties in the event of cyber attack. You maybe for further explanation, Meeling will explain this to you, or you can refer to the staff handbook to find more information related to this act. Alright, and these slides are some examples of companies that get fined by regulators. The first one here is the fine by Singapore PTPC to My Republic for data security failure. The another two here are the international fine against Twitter and Morgan Stanley companies for not protecting their users' personal information. So from all of this, the idea we are trying to tell everyone is regardless of where we are, because of our industry, we are regulated in different countries. The regulator will come after us if there is a successful cyber attack against the company. And that's why we should be aware and very, very careful. Alright, moving forward. You may say that, but the attacker isn't interested in me. Yeah, that is wrong. You are exactly what the attacker wants. Even if one of us claim that they don't have anything on their computers worth attacking or stealing, the bottom line is that everyone has something the attacker wants. It could be financial or personal data, and so on. But the worst thing, they could be use your computer as a jump point to attack someone else or to deliver malware that can impact, for example, your home network or your work environment. Also, attacker can still use your computer resource for crypto mining, for financial gain. Also, attacker can also inject ads into your browser to provide them with advertisement revenue. That's why you should know that attacker interested in you. Okay, before we go dive in more details in cybersecurity, let's look at some of terminology that will help us to understand it clear. First here is the threat. Threats are anything that has potential to negatively impact an organization or person. For example, cyber criminals want to gain unauthorized access to company financial data. This is considered as a threat to the company. And vulnerability is loophole or weak point in software or hardware in the network. Let's refer to the same example. The company financial data, for example, is stored in a server that has a weak security or outdated software, such as old operating system or weak password. The vulnerability here is the old operating system or the weak password. And the attacker is the cyber criminal who will exploit this vulnerability in the system to gain access to the company server and steal that data. This will cause for data breach. So the breach is successfully exploit the vulnerability of the system and gain authorized access to the data by the attacker. Another thing is attack surface, which is a vulnerable environment that is may exploited by the attacker to gain access to your network or system. For example, if your house Wi-Fi don't have password and it's available to your neighbors or anyone in that area, they may use your Wi-Fi to gain access to your network, and later they will try to gain unauthorized access to your computers, mobile phone, and so on. Here, your Wi-Fi is the entry point that the attacker can use to launch the attack. Okay, let's continue to talk about the type of attacks and threats. There are many different types of threats. But from our company perspective, we can divide them into internal and external. Example of internal, if the attacker is already a member of our staff, we normally don't suspect them because they don't appear to be suspicious. They may simply join the company to obtain information or pose threat to the company. Also, it could be an intentional threat by staff who lack of cybersecurity knowledge. Yeah, those may pose risk because he or she they will do something without understanding. It could be install malicious software or open port on our company network to expose the company to cyber risk. For the external threat, it can be an ex-employee who has already gotten out of the company but he wants to get information from the company, and he or she knows the company network. How does it work? For example, it can be previous IT analysis, software developers, or even normal stuff. And another threat, it can be the professional attackers. Normally, what the professional attackers do, they are trying to access to the company to get information, and later they will ask for money or publish that information on the internet. It could be amateurs. There are a lot of amateurs nowadays. They think attacking is cool. They will try out different things for no purpose. Alright. Malware is a type of software that's intentionally designed to cause harm or damage to the computer system or network. Once the malware is installed in your computer, it could do a lot of malicious activities. For example, it can take control over your entire system. It can also steal your password, track your keystrokes, or use your computer to launch attack on the other systems. An example of one famous malware, it was Stuxnet, which affect many countries' systems. Here's some types of malware. Virus. Virus is considered as a small program that replicates itself and affect other files in your computer or network. The purpose of this is to consume your computer resource. And we have here is the Trojan. The Trojan is a program that disguises itself as a legitimate program to trick you to download it and install fake one that's already modified by someone else. And then it can perform malicious actions like spreading malwares in your computer, stealing data, or taking control of your computer. Example of those Trojans was Zeus Trojan, which was used to steal banking credentials from millions of computers around the world. And we have ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malware that encrypts your whole files and the folders in your computer system. Then you cannot access them without the password. And that password is actually set by the person who designed that ransomware. So later they will demand a payment from you for exchange the key or the password to access your file. One example of the famous ransomware, it was WannaCry. And it was demand payment in form of Bitcoin to exchange the decryption key with the users or the victims. But from the perspective of cybersecurity, we don't encourage the people to pay ransom because think about it, there is no guarantee for you. They will give you the password at the first. Then if you give them the money, they will maybe ask more money. That's why data backup is very important. So if your current data is infected with the ransomware and it get encrypted, you can always return to the old one. You have the backup, but you maybe lose some part of your data, but at least you will not lose it at all. Also, we have adware. Adware is a type of malware that display unwanted advertisement in your web browser or redirect your web traffic to malicious website. We see a lot of websites where we go, you click it, and then you will get apps, pop-ups, or different type of notifications up, which are adwares. This type of adwares can be found in many of low-quality websites. Then if you click on one of those malicious one, a bot may be installed in your computer and send your information back to the adware creator. Another thing is spam. Spam is unwanted email message that's sent to many recipients in bulk. This means in group. They will send you an email claiming to be someone they are not, and they will ask you for providing them with certain information. While spam is not always malware, it can be in danger to user security. Spam emails can be used to spread malwares or to trick users into disclose personal information such as password or credit card. And also we have spyware. This spyware is a type of malware that collects your personal information or your data from your computer or network without your knowledge. That's mean, for example, it will access your camera and microphone. So basically, you wouldn't know whether your camera or microphone is used by any program or not. And they will record this information for their use. That's why it's important to cover your camera when you are not using it. And the last thing we have here is the rootkit. Rootkit is one of the advanced type of malware that hides itself on the computer or network by changing the operating system or the other component. And rootkit is very, very difficult to detect or remove it. Okay, I hope it's clear so far and you're still following along with me because we still have a lot to cover. Alright, many people think malware comes only in the form of executable or installation files such as exe. But this is not true. Malicious software can be designed to look like any type of files, including the common files type we are daily using, like Word documents, Excel or PDF, also images and more. Once the file is opened or installed, it can run in the background script or program and remain hidden, allowing the attacker to steal information from your computer or network. So to protect against this, it's important to be cautious when opening or downloading any files, even if the file appears to be harmless or come from trusted source. But how do we know if the system is infected by malware? Here are some symptoms of malware, but it doesn't necessarily to mean that your computer affected. It can be indication of malware. For example, your computer may slow down, freeze or keep crashing, even when you are not running any programs. You may also notice that some of your files have been deleted without your knowledge. Also, some programs icon could be changed to some weird icons. These symptoms can caused by the malware, which can happen if you fall victim for social engineering attack. Also here we have another question: how malwares deliver to us? This can be done mostly via email attachments, which can appear in Microsoft Outlook, Thunderbird, or any other email clients, including web browser. The best defense for this is to stop and think before download or open it. Think, do you recognize the sender? Do they normally email you email with attachment? Or if they just suddenly you receive email from someone and it has attachment, then you shouldn't open or click it, because don't assume that your antivirus or firewall will going to protect you 100%. Once again, that's something you and I can recognize it easily, but the computer not so much. Once you open or click that file, it's immediately open it. Alright, another important thing here is down below. Here we can see Excel macros. Some of our stuff already familiar what is the macros. But if you are not used to receive macros and you receive the file after you open it, you will see this message: enable this content, macros has been disabled. Here's some steps you need to do before that. Step 1, don't open it. Step 2, see step 1. Then after that, verify who sent that file and ask for the sender confirmation. Because that is very, very serious, because macros is one of the most popular ways for disrupting malwares, and it's only required for you one click, then that's all, you get infected by the malware. Next, okay, here let's talk about the social engineering and how the attacker get your information to gain access and extra. The attacker will first collect information about you, then they will use that information to find a way to try to communicate with you via different communication channels and try to trick you based on that information that they already collected about you. Then they try to make you to believe something that is not true. I will ask you for some kind of information or to do some actions like open link or something like that. Also, sometimes the attacker will pose as a bank or company you are dealing with, trying to convince you to take that action. Social engineering technique may include calling you from a recognizable phone number. Most people don't realize how is it easy for the attacker to spoof phone number to make their phone call looks like coming from legit company or something, trying to get the people let their guard down. Once you believe them, that's it, you become victim for social engineering attacks. There are a lot of techniques that the attacker can use. So let's play one video here, which is a good example for demonstrating the real social engineering attacks. Yeah, even if it's old or you see it before, but still this one is good example for social engineering attack.
Invited Chris to hack me with his team, but they're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
We help people with human security issues by testing vulnerabilities for like a network test, but it's for the people network. We test those vulnerabilities, see where the holes are, and then help people learn so they can patch them.
Can we try some of this? Can we try some, see if it works?
Yeah, we probably could have our star Visher here make some phone calls as your
Let's do
girlfriend.
it.
Sure. Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice elicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider
Okay.
and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. My husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
gmail.com?
Jessica gets my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Shh. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account. Okay, my
Jessica
name
uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
is 5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yes.
I really thought that my cell phone company would protect me. I mean, like.
Moving forward, let's look at the phishing. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack in which a scammer fool you into thinking they are someone you trust in order to do some action. It can be done via email or phone call or text message. And if you just trust them to do that action, that's it. You get scammed. For example, in Malaysia and Singapore, the common phishing attacks nowadays is done via SMS messages. The messages maybe appear comes from legit source such as bank or job opportunity where they will ask you, do you need a part-time job or something like that? And often it's contain link or attachments. Once you click or open that message, it can install malware on your device or redirect you to a fake website to steal your information. Moving forward, in this slide we have the list of type of email phishing attacks that you should know. We will discuss each one of them. Here in this slide we are showing you a general phishing email. Also gives you some idea of how to make sure the email you received is phishing or not. For example, when we look at this email, we can notice that in the note 1, the domain name is different. Normally, it should be paypal.com or something like that. But in this email, it's paypal.austria.com.io. Just by looking at the domain name, we can tell it's not the really one from PayPal or it's fake. And if you look at the subject name, it's very suspicious. This is not something you requested, and you are receiving this email ask you to check your account. Also, another thing, you can check the grammar because sometimes it can contain bad grammars. But in this email, the most important thing is the link. It's very obvious it's fake. So always you need to hover over the link before click it to check it. If it's contain a number, most likely it's a phishing. Or if the link is different domain that's not related to the email sender, that also can be a phishing. Okay, another thing, we have a spear phishing attack. Normally, in the phishing attack, they will send the bulk emails to everyone. It's like a general email to the users. But if they want to target specific information from a specific person, they will do spear phishing attack. That means they will get information about you, your account, and the people you know or work with, and craft email or message according to that, trying to make you think this person is actually genuine. From the example here, we can see that when they send you email, they will use your name and so on, because they already have gathered information about you and use that information to target you. If you didn't be careful, then you can fall prey to spear phishing attack. Nowadays, it's very effective because anyone can gather much information about any person with the increase in the use of the internet, also the social media platforms. Another type here is smishing, which is SMS attack. It has the same concept as email. They will just send you an SMS with the link proof that they know you, and they will ask you for some information or action. The image here is example of a smishing SMS attack, in which the attackers act like they are clinic, sending the link asking him to verify his account via that link. And if you look at the message, you can notice that the official link in the top is tinyteeth.com, but the one in the SMS is tinyteeth.office. So always you need to check and verify the link. Also, to be more careful when it's come to the SMS, because the attacker assume people are respond to the SMS messages faster than the email. So that's why it's become popular nowadays. Alright, in this slide we have phishing attack via Google search. You may be surprised, but some of the top search results in the Google are phishing links. Scammer also invest in the search engine optimization and work hard to rank their scam sites in the top research. For example, if you need to access public bank website, after you search in the Google about the link, many websites will appear to you. And you need to know which website is the correct one to enter your information. Don't just click the first one you see in the search, because not all the first result is the legit one. Alright, we have here social media phishing attack. Social media is full of fake accounts, as most of us know. It could be also fake account with the same name and the same photos as one of your real friends or person you know. For example, last month we noticed that there are a lot of social media accounts. That impersonate our CEO, Ting Tumbo. So be very, very careful in this. Moving forward, we have QR phishing attack. Who thought QR could be dangerous? QR code phishing attack is another type of social engineering attack where attackers trick the users into scan QR code that lead them to fake or malicious website. As we know, QR codes are everywhere, especially in the restaurant or the coffee shops. Criminals can place their own sticker over the legit one. So when you scan it, it will redirect you to the fake site. Here an example from last month. A woman in Singapore scanned the QR code to do bubble tea survey so she can get the free voucher for the bubble tea. And after she scanned the QR code, it was phishing, and there is a malware installed in her phone, which is cost her to lose 20k. So it's important to always verify the source of the QR code before scanning it and to avoid providing personal information to suspicious websites. We also have here phishing. In phishing attack, the attacker will call the victim and act as a government or bank agent to gain their trust. For example, the attacker may call you pretending to be bank representative and ask for your account number and password to resolve issue with your bank account. This is called phishing, and nowadays it's very effective because you don't have a capability to check everything in the phone calls. So if you don't have issue with your bank account and suddenly you get a call, don't simply give your information. In that case, you can take the official bank number and call them to verify with them directly. Don't give information to the one who call you. Alright, we have also the whale CEO fraud. This happens when someone calls you and tells you that they are from the higher management in your company. For example, they can pretend to be Tintambu and told you that I need this money from my account now, or something like that, and he don't have much time to wait, and ask you to send this money to some bank account. Since they pretend to be your CEO, you wouldn't ask many questions most probably, and you send that money, and later on maybe you find out the person wasn't actually the CEO, it's someone else. So this type of attacks could also happen, and especially it could happen in the large organizations or companies. Alright, we have here farming attack. Farming attack is installing some spyware or malicious software on your computer that will redirect your URL to fake website. For example, it can be for your bank account website. The attacker might know which bank account you are using. Then they will install software in your computer. So when you type the bank account website in your browser, it will actually redirect you to the similar website, but it's the fake one. So when you type your username and password, they will capture the username and password, and they will use it in your actual bank account to access your information and bank account. Alright, so we have also DDoS attack. DDoS attack is mostly attacking the server side. Let's look at example. If you have a website that is running in the internet, let's say iCapital, which is only capable of handling 1000 visitors at the same time. But more than that, it cannot handle. So if the attacker want to target that website, what they will do, they will use bot or uninstall bot in other 2000 computers that will send requests at the same time to the website. So since the website cannot handle that kind of traffic, it will go down. That's why many attackers will give you free softwares. What I mean by free softwares is softwares that need license to be used. For example, Microsoft Office or Adobe. The attacker will give you those kind of softwares for free after they have already changed the actual code of those software. To make them free, also they will add their malicious code to them. This is called crack. People who don't want to pay for this software and they will install that kind of software, when it's installed in your computer, the malicious code will be installed with the software in your computer. So later the attacker will use your computer as a bot to attack some computers or other websites. Okay, we have here example of DDoS attack. The Malaysian Central Bank was hit earlier this year by DDoS attack by Indian attackers. The attackers were able to disrupt the service for 2 hours, and after that they sent a message to the central bank to threaten them. Usually the attacker threaten the business owners to pay them money, or they will keep launching DDoS attack to disrupt their website services. Drywolf is another kind of banking malware attack that use both DDoS and phishing attack together to target financial institutions and their customers. How does it happen? The attacker will write phishing email, ask you to provide some information. He will also trick you to download and execute malware in your computer. Once they have the information, they will send the DDoS request to take down your computer network. And at the same time, they will use the information to log in at the actual website and get either money or information. This attack, known for its high level of sophistication, and it has been responsible for millions of dollars lost for banks and other customers. Here we have the cyber vandalism, which is referred to the malicious actions taken to damage or defect digital assets, such as websites, social media accounts, and other online platforms. It can be done for various reasons, such as political or ideological motivation. Basically, the reason of this attack is to get the attention of the government or the target. So they will try to attack the website, then put their motivation quote or slogans on the website, and so on. Here you can see from the image here is an example where the group called Attacker of Savor target hundreds of Israeli websites, and the attackers put anti-Israel message on many of the Israeli government websites. Alright, moving forward, we have here justice jacking. This is a type of attack where the criminals use public charging port to steal data from the smartphone or other electronic devices. Normally, the attacker use this type of attack in airport or bus stations. They will give you a free USB charging station and they will leave it there. Then when you go there, you will put that charger in your mobile phone or your computer, and you don't know what is the behind the USB. It can be the attacker server or the computer to steal your information from your mobile or computer. Also, the attacker used that USB to spread malwares via your devices and so on. I'm not saying that all of the public USB charging stations are risky, but because there is no control or monitor for this, the attacker usually use them. Here are a few real-world examples of Jesus jacking. In March 2021, the FBI issued a warning about the Jesus jacking scam in hotels and other public areas that used by the attackers to steal data from the guest devices. Also, we have here the last type of attack, which is IDN homograph. IDN homograph attack is a type of phishing attack where the attacker creates a domain name that look like similar to the legitimate domain name, but it contains characters from different script or languages. The attacker may use unique code characters that look like similar to English characters or characters from other scripts such as Cyrillic, Greek, or Arabic. Let's look for some example for more understanding. For example, attacker might create a domain name that looks like Microsoft using the Cyrillic letter I instead of the English letter I, or Apple.com using the Greek letter A instead of the English letter A. By looking at those domains name, they may look like identical to the legitimate domain name. Even if you hover over them, you will see all those same identical because they use the letter I, also the letter A. There is no difference. But they actually point to different websites controlled by the attackers. The goal of IDN attack is to trick the users into entering websites that look like legit by entering the sensitive information such as login credentials or financial information on the fake website. Alright, so let's go over some of the preventive measures to make sure that we don't get attacked. So far, I think you already knows how we do get exposed to security threats and the common methods of spreading malware or targeting you by the attackers, which are in summary done by the malicious attachment or can be done by untrusted website, phishing messages, or spam call, and so on. Okay, let's look at what helps to protect us from those type of attacks. You can take note of this list and I will explain each one of them in next slide. Of course, there are others, but I will summarize some of them here. Let's start with the prevention of the phishing attack since it's the most common way to conduct the attack. Basically, what we want to emphasize that when it's come to the phishing email, there is no way for us to 100% protect everyone. However, even though the IT team can prevent you from accessing your external email or personal email like Gmail, Outlook, or Yahoo Mail by blocking that website directly, we do not do that because we need our staff to be very vigilant and responsible if they need to access their personal emails by using the company network or devices. So you would have to be extra careful because especially when you are using the company computers or laptops. From the list here, the first protection is disable the image download by default. So normally the marketing companies will market their advertisement. The company will use this kind of tracking images to check whether their marketing is successfully or not and whether the person to whom they send the email is open that email or not. Also, this is used by the attacker to ensure that the email they send is opened. So, if you disable the email, Gmail settings or most of the Thunderbirds or other emails client actually come with a setting where it's disabled by default to make sure that when you open the email, it does not open the image automatically. This prevents the attacker from knowing whether the email was opened or not. So, because if the attacker knows the email is opened or not, they will do further steps to try to trick that user because they say, okay, this user is already active and he opened this email, then they will try to trick you using another email. So if you receive an email with an instruction where they ask you to log in to somewhere or click to reset your account or password or send some information, Before you follow that step, you need to think very careful to make sure the email is genuine at the first place. Then you only need to follow those instructions after you already know that email is legit. Also, you have to verify the authenticity of the sender or the caller. Alright, moving on. It is just a little click here. This word, sometimes it's one click that can ruin everything. When you talk about the malicious link, it's not only in emails, but also it's on online research, social media, and other places. So essentially, we can divide the steps of making sure the link is valid into 4 steps. Well, number 1 is verify. Ask yourself, are you expecting to receive a link? Hover over the link. Absolutely, hovering is your friend. It's one of the best things that you can do. Why? Because if you look at the top example here, the CD Global, you will see that the link is point to the CD Global. And if we hover over it, which is just using your mouse to move over and not click on it, you will see that the link itself is actually going to www.afl.com, or sometimes you can see a number. You may say that, what if I am using mobile phone or my tablet? You can still do hovering by performing a long press over the link, but be careful. If you don't hold down the long press long enough, you will be directly click the link. Second image here is example of how to do that hovering in mobile phone, also on computer. Okay, then give it a sniff test and make sure that is something that you should be doing. Just kind of take a step back and think about whether it's pass all the 3 tests or not. And if you think it's okay, you can go ahead and open it. And always be cautious when the website asking for entering your personal information or details. Okay, here is an example of phishing message. Link aren't just for email. This is an SMS message that claiming to be from Shubi. Before you open the message or any link, start questioning yourself. The name and the tracking number from here. It seems to be okay. Then check, are you expecting a package? Have you ever received a package notification from Shubi via message before? Also, the most important thing is the link. The message claiming to be from Shubi, but if you note the odd domain name, it's different, and this should tip you off that is a legitimate message. Okay, next here is another example of phishing links. Some attackers are good at crafting phishing emails that may go to spam folders. You may receive one emails that don't have link, but it's ask you for press a button to view or join a group. But if you hover over it, you will see where the link will take you. So always before follow the link, you need to be careful and hover over it to see where it's going to take you. Alright, in this slide, it's shorten or obfuscation link. Is another technique to follow into opening malicious link. Usually websites like Bitly or TinyURL give you a service to shorten the URL to make it easy to use or share. But the attackers use it to trick their victims. They will send you a shortened link with Bitly, and when you hover over it, you will see the link that was created by Bitly. And you think this is okay, can be safe. But actually it has an uncover URL that will be redirect you to different websites. So be extra careful when opening any kind of this link. Also, you can check that there is many online websites like this example here is Link Expander that can help you to see the actual link before you open it. What you need to do, just copy the link you receive, which is under the Bitly URL, then paste it here. It will give you the actual link that you will be redirect to. Next here we have scan with the antivirus. In fact, the antivirus is able to tell you that there is a malware have been detected and can do some automatic prevention such as quarantine of the malware or something like this. Which why we remind everyone to regularly do scan of your computer. In our company, most of our computers have trained micro endpoint security. To perform the scan is simply follow the example here by expanding the little icon next to the Wi-Fi or the network icon. Then right click in the trend micro icon and select scan now. You can see the full process how to do this in the image here on the left. All right, moving to the next. So here it's all about password. Okay, you can read the meme here. The obvious joke in this case is most of the people find it easier to change the name of their bat than it's to change their password. Because it's common for people to use their bat names as their password across multiple accounts. Yeah, this is so funny. Just anyone can gather information about you about those things from any place, then can use them to craft or do cracking for your password or guess. These are the most frequent used password. So in most cases, the attacker will put all those passwords on one list or one Excel file, and then use one software that can check all of them one by one. Then if one of them matches your password, they will gain access to your system. This kind of attack is called the dictionary attack. So be aware of this and don't use this type of password. If you already use one of those type of password, it's already familiar by the attackers and the people out there. So try to change it and don't use it again. Another thing, try to change your password in regular basis and avoid to use the dictionary words and always use the password best practices. We will talk about this in more detail in next few slides. This is another method of attacking your password. It's called brute force attack, which is a type of tactic that attempts to guess your password by automatically trying every possible combination of characters and numbers until they found the correct one. For example, let's say you have a user with password 127906. A brute force attack will start by trying the password with the 1 digit, then 2 digits, and so on until the correct password is found. This can be a time-consuming process, particularly if the password is long and complex. But it can be automated with the use of script, and it's effective against the weak password that's easy to guess and have less complexity. But it's less effective against the longer and the complex password that include combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. From the table here, we can see that how long it will take to guess your password depends on its length and complexity. And try to make sure that your password by looking at this combination in the yellow or green area. Okay, let's move to the password tips. For the password tips, you need to avoid using the information that's associated with you, such as your address, phone number, birthday, bat names, and so on, because the attacker can find all those information in any one of your online platforms. Also, another thing is a good practice to use multi-factor authentication. Don't use one password for all the account. Alright, here we have phrases, not password. This is the great example for the best practices how to use a strong password and complex password. The key takeaway is that the length is far more important than the complexity of the password. Yeah, also you can see from here the picture, the Australia Cybersecurity recommended to use phrases and password managers instead of only password. For example, here, even though when you look at this password, you will think it's complex enough because we use the P capital and alias and W also one number digit to make it complex. It's still considered as a bad password. And if you look at the example here, my dream is still in progress. We used the length of the password. Also, we embedded some characters change and digit number. But this is a phrase, we can still remember it anytime, just you need to remember the pattern how you type it. Also, it has the complexity that needed by a strong password in the green area. Alright, but when it's come to manage your password, how we can do managing our password? When it's come to the managing your password, first and the foremost, keep your password in a secure location. That does not mean in sticky notes on your monitor or under your keyboard. Also, don't store your password in clear text in your computer, which I mean Word document, Excel file, or Notepad. That is very common by the users and it's bad practice. So after you're hearing me telling you those bad practices to do, the cool thing is that there is a password manager software that can take care for this for us. You can save all of your passwords in one of those secure software, and only you need to create one strong password as the master password and remember that password. And you can use the master password to access all of your password. From the list here, those are the most reputable and secure ones, and some of them are completely free. For example, Strongbox, KeyPass, and 1Password, all of them are free, and that you can use them in order to handle this kind of password manager. For me, I'm using KeyPass in my Windows operating system and Strongbox for Mac and iPhone, which are free and do great job for me. So let's look at some benefit of using password manager, which are it's help you to create different password for each account and can save long complex password for you in encrypted place. Also can auto generate for you strong password. So we encourage everyone to use password manager, and here is the list. You can choose any one of them, which are completely free. Moving forward for the password itself, you need to make sure that your password is protected, as we discussed before in password manager and so on. And you need to remember that your password is like a toothbrush. You need to choose a good password all the time and never share your password with anyone, and change your password every 2 or 3 months. Also, we are never use our old toothbrush again, so don't use your old password. Alright, moving forward, let's talk about the multi-factor authentication, which is pretty common nowadays. Well, normally, it requires your phone to use it. Normally, the password or the access to any systems that's secure, they use a combination of something you know and something you have. Something you know mean your password, username, security questions, and something you have, which might be mobile phone authentication code or USB key that you can use it for multi-factor authentication. Also, your fingerprint and your face are example of multi-factor authentication, which is something you have. For example, if using the multi-factor authentication here in our company, we are using authenticator code, which is extension in your web browser. So you can see it when you log in to sign your attendance or SharePoint. It's already there, and every time it generates a new code that authenticates you. Okay, next we have general tips for security and privacy. We are almost done, just bear with me in the next few slides. So backup is one of the most important things in cybersecurity. You may say that doesn't really sound cybersecurity anything. And in reality, backups are necessary to cybersecurity. And the reason for this, in many ways, it's the only way guarantee that the protection against ransomware or disaster recovery. And from looking at this data, we can see that only if you do that, which explains why ransomware is still very effective until these days. One last thing for backup media such as external drive or USB drive, after you already did backup to those drive, they should not be kept or connected all the times. Because if you're infected with ransomware, it will almost certainly encrypt all the files in the backup media as well. Alright, moving to next. Another thing here that doesn't sound very cybersecurity, but it's important for cybersecurity, which is the idea of the updates. Because what was secure yesterday may not be secure today. Many people think that update is only for new features or something like that, but many are unaware that those updates are include fix or better protection for them. Also, you need to know there are new vulnerabilities found every single day, and if you read the news, there are thousands of new pieces of malware that release every single day. So that's why we have the updates, and it's really very important for the cybersecurity, and please make sure that you stay updated all the time. When we're talking about the update, what we are actually talking about, there are many things that we need to update. Well, first foremost is your operating system, which can be Microsoft Windows, Apple, or Linux, and also for your mobile phones. Just to give example of that, Windows 7 and Internet Explorer, both of which were very popular, just come to the end of the life January 2020 and 2022. Again, why this is important? Because if, say, a new vulnerability is discovered tomorrow or next month, Microsoft and Apple will do their parts and push the update and let you know. And must you do your part by checking the update and update your system, or they will not come to you to update or secure your system. The same update is applied for the antiviruses, and please keep them also update as well. Alright, we have here in this slide another type of update, which is web browser update. which is very important because we cannot do much with our computers these days without the web browser. So when we talk about the browsers, we are talking about Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, or any one of those. Why this is important? So you may have the knowledge of how to deal with the most internet attacks, scam, phishing, and so on. However, the attacker may not targeting you by using those techniques. Instead, they may targeting you using those environments, such as your browser or operating system and so on. So, and to be safe in the digital world, you need to have the awareness of the cybersecurity and the threat. Also, you need to update and secure your environment. Also, another important thing when it's come to the web browser, on the right here side, you can see a list of extensions that can help to block the ads, disable malicious script and trackers in your browser, also enhance your privacy. When it's come to the extensions, you need also to be very careful. Don't just go and install any extensions because there are a lot of malicious extensions that the attacker can use to steal your information from your web browser. Check and ask someone who is expert before install any extensions. Alright, here in this slide is the steps you need to do to check your Windows OS update. And in this slide is how to check your web browser and update it. Next, here is another important thing that we should be aware of and use it wisely, which is online search and using AI. For example, using ChatGPT or other AI, which are a great tool that can help us in our daily task. But if not used properly, it can create a significant security risk, as they are not able to guarantee the security and the privacy of our information that being shared on. Let's use an example to understand this. If one of our staff members shared sensitive information, for example, in ChatGPT, when he was doing his research, such as customer data or company confidential information, and something happened to the ChatGPT, this may lead to the data breach for the company, and the company will be charged by the regulators because of that. As we can see here from the report, here are some companies that have already been affected by this because the responsibility of their staff when they do research, they already use the company's sensitive data to share in those platforms such as ChatGPT. And here is another important thing that the developers or the IT staff should be very careful and aware of it, is the sharing code with the sensitive information such as login credentials or IP addresses on public platforms such as GitLab or GitHub. In our company, we are using GitLab Private for collaboration and daily work for our developers. Even though this platform only managed and accessed by the IT team, this platform still not guarantee 100% security. There is some security breach on those platforms such as hijacking and so on. And from the report here, you can see in May 2020, GitLab suffered security incidents where the GitLab administrator mistakenly exposed the configuration file in the public-facing GitLab instance, which results in unauthorized access to the database containing sensitive data users and hashes password. Same of this incident happens for GitHub. So when it's come to those platforms, we need to be very careful in which kind of information we are sharing or copy also from them. Alright, let's look at external media and USB drives. If you found any one of those, don't ever try to connect it to your computer or your devices. As you may know, attackers has been using this for a long time and they are still using it until today. The reason being that as soon as you plug on that USB or that kind of devices to your computer, it can actually automatically run a script and play it in the background without your knowledge and without you doing anything. Let's use an example to have a clear understanding why this is so important. Let's say you are coming from your home to the work and suddenly you find a pen drive or USB in the ground. Then you take it with you and come to your office. Once you are in the office, you may want to use that pen drive or to see what's inside it. Then if it's a malicious one, once you plug in it, it will automatically run a malware or virus or something like that. And by doing that, you already passed some of our security measures that we are implementing in our network, such as firewall and so on. Because firewall and other those things, network security measures, they are protecting against online attack, but you are physically plugging the malicious USB directly to the company network. So if you find that kind of things, don't ever blog it. Ask the IT to help you, or use sandbox before you use it directly on your personal computer or the company network, because the risk coming from this is very, very serious. Okay, encryption. Encryption can be used to protect our data so that no one without the key can access it, as we discussed before. HTTP and HTTPS in simpler way means that the data sent using HTTP is not encrypted, and the data sent by using HTTPS is encrypted. So when we use HTTPS, if someone sits in the middle of the connection, he will not be able to capture that data, such as your password or username, because those already encrypted. But if you are using the HTTP protocol, he can still do that by capturing username and password, because they are transferred in clear text. So always you need to check the padlock here in the URL before you're entering your username and password. But this doesn't mean necessarily that the site with the padlock is legit. It simply means that the communication with you and the website are encrypted. And it's up to you to make sure that it's a correct website, because sometimes the bad actors will create their own malicious website with their HTTPS and padlock. Also, encryption can help to protect our devices against theft. So in Microsoft Windows, we have a BitLocker, and in Apple Mac, they have already the files vault, which can be used to encrypt the files in the hard disk and so on. Moving next, here is the VirusTotal, which is one of the websites that can help you quickly to check if the file or the website are malicious or not. You can just type the URL here or upload the file, and it will give you immediately the result. You can look at the images here, then see the examples. Next, we have the file extensions. File extensions themselves are not inherently security risk, but they can be used to certain types of attacks or vulnerability. For example, malware distributions. Attacker may use this file extension to trick users into download and execute malwares. How they will do this? They may send you a file, and when you download it, it appears in your computer as image or JPEG file, but it's actually an exe program. Once you open it, it will run the malware. So always you need to check the file extension. How to do this in Windows? You can open the File Explorer, click then See More, and the three dots icon here, and select the option. And select the View tab here, and check the checkbox next to the Hide Extensions, and click OK or Apply. Yeah, you can follow the steps in this image. Here we have another great website that can help us to check our data is exposed to the public or not. For example, if you use the same password across multiple accounts, your phone number or your email, you can check those information if they already published in any kind of data breach that happens before. Then avoid using them again, especially your password. Okay, moving to the next is developing a good mobile habit. Starting with avoiding connecting to unknown Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi such as Starbucks, airport, and always consider them as unsecure network, and don't use them for accessing sensitive websites or applications such as your bank account, email, and so on. So because those are not protected with password and anyone can connect them, also attacker may access the same Wi-Fi as you are connected to, then they can capture all the traffic are coming out from your computer or devices. So be aware when you're using such kind of Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi. Alright, we have here is the last thing, which is what to do when things go wrong. So if it's happened, you have get infected by malware, or your computer get attacked, or see something strange about your computer, then there is some steps you need to do with your computer. First, don't turn off the computer and make sure that your device is disconnected from the internet immediately. So if there is a malware or you find any suspicious activities in your computer, don't turn off, just go unplug the Ethernet cable from the back, or just close the Wi-Fi. You need to inform the IT immediately and note down what actually you did before that incident happened. So this will be easier for the IT team to know what is the origin of the problem, and they can act accordingly to investigate and do the prevention measures. Also, sometimes the security team will do the report to the higher authority in that regard. And if you are here in Malaysia, there is a National Cybersecurity Agency. Also, cybersecurity Malaysia. In those organizations, you can report any incident of kind of cyber attacks, then they will take care of it. So, in conclusion, cybersecurity is not just about having the latest technology, it's also about the people and the processes. Many attacks happen because users are unaware how to handle the systems. Even if you have the expensive equipment to prevent the cyber attack, if the person using the system is not aware of the cybersecurity, it can still lead to exposure of cyber threats. Also, it's important to know what attacks that can happen or target you and how to handle some of them. And another important thing, it's important to minimize the activities that expose the company or yourself to the cyber threat. Also, it's good to practice cyber hygiene to take steps to reduce cybersecurity attacks and protect your information. I think that's all. And if you have another question, you may ask IT team. Also, for more information, we have the company policy for the IT and cybersecurity and staff handbook. You can always refer to it at any time. Thank you.